There it is. Welcome, welcome, good people, to Deconflicted. You got your boy here, Brian Boggs. We here to offer you a perspective you may not have considered before. With me is my brother. I'll let him explain himself.
Peace, peace. We just gonna drop some different perspectives. We never err on the side of trying to tell people what to do, but practice the perspective of doing our best to discern what we encounter, on our day to day. So hopefully you guys take the time to listen and provide some feedback, and we just go from there, man. Nice to meet y'all. My name is Antoine Jarvis, and welcome.
Solid. So today, the question is, why is it so hard to be healthy? When you think about the pharmaceutical industry, and the medical industry, they making maximum profit on the sickness of people. And there's been countless documentaries done on how we live and how we eat makes us sick. What's your perspective, brother?
Uh, I think your first statement said enough. We can just shut down the podcast from there. Uh, when you said they make maximum profit, you didn't say that they make profit,
Yeah.
right? You said they make maximum profit, which means when I think about it, they spend the right amount of money to get the right people involved in these thought meetings, these thought provoking meetings that they have with the right people, and they spend the money needed on marketing and advertising, and they figure out how to get us to have a more desire, or quote unquote have a more fast-paced life where I don't have time to eat healthy. I got to just eat what I can and keep it pushing.
Convenience, baby. You pay for
Convenience.
convenience. You pay
That's
for
what it is.
convenience.
That's why I said the first statement was enough to shut the whole podcast down, because that's the reality of it. We have to understand they are spending. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry because they're spending tens of millions of dollars on advertising. They're spending tens of millions of dollars on convincing us this is how we're supposed to be eating and this is the things we should be eating.
Yep. And for every positive study that tells you the right things to do, they'll pay for another study to counter that.
To counter that,
So it can
counter
make
that.
it difficult for a layman to discern what's real and what isn't real, what
I
works
think
and
so.
what really doesn't work.
I think so. Let me move this over real quick.
It took me a while to figure it out.
And I mean, we're all a work in progress. You know what I'm saying? Let me just throw this on the charger real quick. We're all a work in progress. I think the idea of just trying to do our best with what we have access to. You know what I'm saying? We've been told eating healthy is expensive. Um, we've been told millions of different things about the challenges of how we're supposed to eat. But when it comes down to the understanding and the realization of we are going to get older. We're not getting younger. Yes, there are ways, and I appreciate you, expressing and sharing ways that we can reverse aging, right? But that doesn't mean we'll reverse we'll reverse the age.
Right. You can reverse the biological age, but you can't
Correct.
reverse the chronological age.
Correct. And with that being said, it's one of those things where we have to take into consideration what we're doing on a daily basis to to promote to ourselves within ourselves a more sufficient way of eating. Like what's your daily routine look like when you wake up with your breakfast? Do you have breakfast, lunch? Do you have lunch? How many times a day? Like what does that look like for you?
Well, for me, I practice intermittent fasting every day,
7 days
16
a week?
hours every day.
Okay.
every day. I mean, of course, I'm a human being. I'm gonna have my vacations where I don't abide by the rules. But the general rule, intermittent fasting. First thing I have when I wake up is a cup of some water. Then I have a cup of coffee. No creamer, no sugar. I put cinnamon, cocoa powder, and cloves in it, and some MCT oil. Then the next thing I'll have, and this is just throughout the course of the day. Next thing
Correct.
I'll have is another cup of water. Then I'll have some tea. Then I'll have lunch about noon. My lunch tends to be heavy vegetable based with some grains. Um, like today, I had a egg, collard green, and onion mixture with some salmon.
Egg, collard greens, and onions.
Yep, with some salmon, some olive oil, some fresh garlic. So I don't. One thing I do is I don't. I'll cook with garlic, but still, I always put fresh garlic in whatever I'm eating. If it
Mm,
calls for garlic, because one of the best compounds in garlic it's called allicin or something like that, and it's only created when you crush garlic, and it doesn't last a long time. And if it's too much heat, it'll actually degrade that compound. So that's why it's used as a finisher on meals. So I put the garlic in there, my olive oil, ate that. Then I had my snack, which was some walnuts, some almonds, some pumpkin seeds. I have another cup of water, and then for dinner today, I have my fruit smoothie. Where I put my watermelon, cantaloupe, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, apple, uh, either banana or banana flower, depending on how I feel.
mm,
A couple of dates, and then I add chokeberry powder. Um, Sometimes I put matcha powder in there. I put uh, spirulina in there, which is blue green algae. I put chia seeds in there. Sometimes I'll put a walnut butter or almond butter in there. I probably won't do that today. And then some almond milk or a V8. I'll alternate. Today I'll probably do almond milk. And then I call it a day. I normally shut down sometime between 6 and 8, and then I don't eat again until noon the next day.
okay. I see what you're saying. What's that matcha you was talking about? What is matcha?
Matcha powder is it's the green leaf for green tea. So the difference between green tea is matcha is green tea is just water poured over the leaves, extracting the good stuff out. Matcha is the actual leaf, dried, crushed up into powder form, and you consume the entire leaf.
How you spell that? MACA or MACHA?
Match Matcha.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I never heard of that one before. I heard of everything else you put in there. I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, matcha. Oh, also I put pomegranate juice powder in there, and sometimes I put some inulin in there, which is as a soluble fiber,
Okay.
and cocoa powder. Sorry, I put cocoa powder also in my smoothie. Because
Help
I
me with
like
that.
to I
Wait,
like
wait.
to make sure I use a
Cocoa
lot of
powder?
antioxidants. Huh?
Cocoa powder?
Cocoa powder, CACAO, not COCOA.
Oh, okay.
The
Never
difference
heard that one
between the
before.
two is cocoa powder has sugar in it. Cocoa powder, cocoa powder has sugar in it. Cocoa powder doesn't have sugar in it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I was going to ask about that one. How much? How we got the ingredients now? How much are you doing with that? How much of all of that is on a plate? Because it's you named like 8 or 9 ingredients.
I don't put it in the plate. I put it in the blender.
Oh, you do the smoothie version. Okay.
Yeah, I blend it all up.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Okay. You do the smoothie version of it.
Yes, sir.
Got you. Okay. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. And you just take one cup and then this that's your dinner.
And that's my dinner.
Okay. And how long you been on that?
Man, I've been on that for at least 3 months now.
3 months.
Yep.
What's the differences that you've seen so far with those?
The two biggest differences is my blood pressure. Man, my blood pressure better than it's ever been as an adult.
What you
And
mean?
so, yeah, I used to be on high blood pressure medication. I used to take lisinopril. Um, I used to be as high as 160 over 100. It would probably average like 150 over like 90 something. But now my blood pressure averages somewhere between 101 to 113, top number, bottom number 150. I mean 58 to 66.
Now.
Now,
And that's why. What have you changed? Obviously, we're not making no medical claims.
yeah. Not a doctor, not a
That's what I want to put him out there because I don't want nobody thinking that that's what we on. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're just talking about what we do in our own personal life. So for educational purposes, this is what obviously has worked for us. What caused you to change your eating habits, and what do you think lowered the blood pressure?
I truly not believe, I know that my blood pressure was reduced by increasing my intake of uh, antioxidants and reducing my intake of saturated fat.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, uh, saturated fat. The main place you get saturated fat out of is meat. And I'm not going to demonize me. Hey, I love me a steak. I love me a burger. I love hot links. I eat ribs, but I just only do it once a week. One day out of a week. And like fried food, I only eat fried food once a month.
Mm. Okay, so you don't even do that in moderation. You just completely damn near cold turkey it.
That's my moderation. See, moderation is a word that doesn't have a definition.
Correct.
You know what I'm
Because it
saying?
can be
When people
whatever
say
you
do stuff in
say.
moderation, what does moderation mean? Give me some parameters. There's no parameters for moderation.
You make it whatever you want it to be based off of what you want it to be. Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
my moderation.
Oh, that makes sense because what you're saying is four times a month, 4 times a month you set aside to partake in eating of steaks, if you will, or you know uh, 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 anything
Yeah, having me some
anything.
ice cream. Because here's the deal. All that stuff is delicious and it makes you happy, when you eat delicious food. And we've been trained in that manner to seek happiness through food. Um,
Damn.
so I don't degrade, or let me not say I don't deny myself the opportunity to have those. I just really, really, really restrict the time that I do.
Mm. Real quick, because you said something I wanted to touch on real quick. Because you're talking about happy foods, and when you said happy foods, it took me to a place that I understand oh so well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
certain foods you can eat where, like my mom, for example, she'll be eating certain foods and she'll start humming a song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, not to put her out there like that, but over time, I learned certain foods do certain things to us.
Yes.
And it's not so much that actual food that we enjoy, but the preparation of it, the seasonings, the the sauces sometimes that we put on it. You know what
It's
I'm
all
saying?
about the flavor.
It's all about the flavor that makes us happy when we participate in it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's not so much, well, I want a steak. Well, I want a steak. I want it red, no flavor, no
Yeah,
juice, no matter of fact, don't even cook it. Just pass it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that. It's more so the time that's taken, um, damn near borderline a delicacy, if you will, um, because of how it's prepped and how it comes out to the point to where how we savor it, um, is 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 what we enjoy, is the experience that we like to gravitate to, if you will, in regards to how we feel when consuming these type of foods. If we're talking about why it's challenging to eat healthy.
absolutely. It's just like think about it. It's like a car. You know what I'm saying? Cars are made of the same materials: aluminum, uh, maybe carbon fiber, some steel, some iron, some plastic, some leather, and some glass. The way it's prepared and put together, though, is what makes that experience. So it's
Correct.
about the preparation, not about the ingredients.
Mm. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Never thought of it like that. That is what we're used to. We are
Yeah.
used to the experience of it,
Yep.
to the point to where it got we damn near was borderline sold on the idea of you may even get that same type of experience from a McD's or a BK or Chick-fil-A, or you know what I mean. If you just add these seasonings and these, you might be able to get the same experience to where now, even though, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we're talking about expenses, if we're talking about which one costs more, I damn near want to say, especially if you're looking at a family of four, family of five, you looking at damn near, and especially if it's boys that eat big, you you know what I'm saying? Like you're looking at damn near $100 tab, just from going to Chick-fil-A.
Facts.
And if there's any
Facts.
parents that's listening that got boys, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So if we're talking about what's cheaper and what's not, keep in mind that's not leftovers. That's one meal that
That's
hits
one
your
meal. They might be
lunch.
hungry later.
They gonna be hungry later. You see what I'm saying? They gonna be hungry later. So if you think about that same $100 that you spent on that, and you put that same $100 into buying some fruits, buying some veggies, buying some grains, throw some seasoning together, you damn near got a curry that potentially has leftovers. And if you want to go with dessert, you got a whole fruit spread that you can utilize as your desserts. Like today, perfect example of today. Only thing I've ate today so far, and we're gonna eat curry for dinner, right? Only thing I've ate so far today is the pomegranate seeds and some and blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries and strawberries. Just in a bowl. I filled it up halfway and threw some raw organic honey on it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Threw
I
some
bet that
raw.
was delicious too.
Oh my god! And I threw it in the refrigerator
Right.
because they're all frozen. All these fruits are frozen. So I threw it in the fridge so that way they can defrost. So by
Right.
the time I get to them, this natural juice at the bottom of this bowl.
Right.
It's natural juice. There's nothing I got to add to it. It's all the juice from the decaying defrosting, not decaying, from the defrosting ice, right? Through by way of going through the fruits is now at the bottom. So now it's marinating in that. Threw some raw organic honey in that joint. That literally, obviously, I'm satisfied.
Right.
Like I've come to the conclusion where I don't eat till I'm full no more.
Right.
I eat till I'm satisfied.
That's important. Hey, portion size is the biggest problem in American society.
Portion control.
Yeah.
That is a challenge for all of us. Is portion control. Because especially as a man, if we grew up, depending on how you grew up, if you grew up in a household like I grew up in, where my mom will be damned if you waste any food. You get your ass whooped if you waste.
If you spill your plate, you better clean that plate.
Come on, what? You see what I'm saying? Like we've been taught that. So if I go to eat at somebody's house and they fill my plate up because they don't know my portion sizes, I've been taught clean the plate.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, let me just eat until I'm satisfied and I'll take the rest home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think, and we had a conversation about shrimp today. And I had shrimp yesterday, and I see why people go and go into the whole fish and shrimp concept to get away from the beefs and the poultry and all that type of stuff. And
Right.
they're on their way to ultimately getting rid of meat as a whole.
Right.
I understand it. I understand why these substitutes are utilized. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, this fruit intake is a whole different. It's a whole different. I watched it. Let me tell you how it worked for me, man. I watched a movie called Hypnotic the other day on online, and I'm not gonna go into the movie, but parts of the movie it shows you how we can be hypnotized, if you will, right?
Most people are.
Most people are. So we, and in this hypnotic state, we see what we believe is a reality.
And it
Like
is.
it literally is
Right.
a person's reality,
It's a
right?
reality. But they
It's a
showing you a
reality.
reality that they want you to have.
It's a
That's
reality
what you want to
that
have.
they want you to have. That's the key point. You understand what I'm saying? Like that is the point that I took away from it. So that means if they wanted me to have it, that means I also have control of what I want that reality to look like. I have control. So I started to think like, okay, well, shoot, if we're energy beings, and this is more so like a vessel just housing this energy being that we have, and what happens if I start telling this energy vessel, this energy being inside me, hey, I want to start controlling the reality.
I
What if
want
I
to take the
started
wheel.
meditating? What if I started speaking life into my reality? Start speaking positive into my reality. What if my what ifs were all the good things that can happen versus my what ifs being all the bad things that can happen?
Think about what you can do instead of what you can't do.
Man, what if I started doing that? Is where my mind was going. I'm talking about I'm having a damn near 2 hour conversation with my chick after watching this movie, and I'm sitting here like, man, like what if all the reality that I want to have is fully 100% my control? What if I'm not where I want to be because I don't know how to see where I want to be? But if I learn and I teach myself how to see it, I can manifest that.
That's so important right there. You don't know how to see where you want to be.
So important, brother. Like, I mean, and I'm glad you caught that because that was one of the things that hit me as well. And again, this is just my experience. I can't tell other people how other people are experiencing, but I bullshit you not. This experience came from after about 7 or 8 days of raw fruit, no meat, raw fruit, and my body's telling me like, and again, I've seen, I came across stuff. I read certain things about how the body works when you feed it the right way. And so for me, it was one of those things where it just was an aha moment where I was like, if I can see it, if I can teach myself how to see it, then I can put emotions behind what I told myself I'm seeing.
Do you remember a conversation we had on mental health? and you were talking about, the different practices to improve mental health. I was like, if only more people ate to improve their mental health.
You said if only more people ate to improve their mental health?
Yes, the brain is an organ, just like the heart, just like the liver, just like the kidneys. You'll eat to keep a good heart. You'll eat to not damage your liver, but people don't eat to improve their brain.
Listen, this is why I enjoy these bills with you, brother, because it's now we're diving into why some of us are aggressive, while some of us are lazy, while some of us are not motivated. What you just now said also plays into the reality of if you're eating foods that are dead, right? Let's just keep it real. All those meats and things are dead. They're prepared in a way where we're like, oh my goodness, it's been fried, it's been this, it's been that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but it's dead. It's not alive. So if we're constantly consuming things like that, and again, I can only speak for myself. I wasn't a big weed smoker as an adult. In my teenage years and things like that, yeah, I was chiefing like Keith. But as I got older, it was poor eating habits that had me feeling lazy. It was poor eating habits that had me feeling that where I was trying to figure out where's the motivation at.
The depression, the anxiety.
Boom, anxiety, all of those things, right? Where people say it's it's just hereditary, it's in your genes.
Right. And don't get me wrong, but I want to say this as a caveat. Mental health challenges are real. There can be imbalances that cause depression and anxiety. We're not saying that food is going to fix those things. But what's being said is that eating food for your brain can improve those things. Not saying it's going to fix it, but it can improve it.
We're not saying it can fix it at all. Um, but there's definitely science behind, and it's not for us to take credit for, but do your own research. There's definitely science behind the raw fruit diet, the organic raw fruit diet. There's definitely science behind it if you make the time to research it. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm glad you brought that up because again, my mind, when I say it was wide open, it was I damn it was like the first time I took mushrooms, where I was like, whoa, this is, and again, this is just my experience. I can't speak for everybody else,
Right.
but my experience was one of those moments where I was like, damn, what if all the stuff that I experienced in life, I came across, read about in life, was preparing me for the moment I started feeding my brain the proper foods.
Facts. Now, there you go. You're on to something there.
You see what I'm saying?
You're
What's
on to
what's
something
what's your
there.
thoughts on that? Give me your experience off of that. Because again, I can only speak for myself, but I know from our conversation previous, you've had your own experience with, you know, great superior gut health. You know what I mean, and feeding your body what you're supposed to be eating.
Absolutely. So, gut health and brain health go hand in hand. Gut health and total health goes hand in hand. Like it all starts in your gut. You can Google multiple studies, multiple articles that discuss this. The creation of short chain fatty acids is what improves the processes. Because like when people think, when people think about their brain, they just think about their thinking, but they don't think about the blood-brain barrier. They don't think about the tissue that's up here that can be improved based upon what you put in your body. And myself, from my own experience, which is why I started being a living experiment, is I have seen market improvement in my thought process when I adjusted the way I ate and moderated my consumption. Again, my moderation is very, 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 very restricted of the stuff that doesn't necessarily give you the best value for a good, healthy outcome. So, like me, fruit is the truth. I love me some fruit. I love me some vegetables. And when you start consuming them on a regular basis in higher quantities than you would meat, you'll start to feel some of the differences. At least I did. Not saying everybody else will. And I understand that we're programmed to eat in a manner that isn't the healthiest. Because when you look at from a historical perspective and the things we ate that were good and the comfort foods and all these things, that's what you were programmed to desire.
Correct.
And it takes a deliberate approach to adjust that. Like I was having a conversation with my mom because I'm working to get my mom better off her medication. She just got off 2 recently, and she was eating some stuff that wasn't the best. And I was like, hey mom, you should kind of leave these things alone. She's like, I like what I like. I said, well, you decide what you like. It ain't like supposed to pop in your mouth. You made a decision. Okay, I like this. You
That's
can
right.
decide to like something else.
Right. You can teach yourself to like something else.
You can teach yourself to like something else.
Correct.
And that's the thing that I tell you, man, the one thing I know of people in my orbit, a lot of people are starting to wake up to the restriction. I ain't gonna say the elimination.
Correct.
But the restriction of saturated fat products. Because I don't want to demonize meat, but but the saturated fat that's in it is a real thing. It's a real thing, and people have heart attacks and people have strokes. I mean, John Singleton died from high blood pressure. Kevin Samuels, they say he died from high blood pressure. They say Jamie Foxx had a stroke because of high blood pressure. Yeah, high blood pressure is real. And one of the main reasons high blood pressure is saturated fat. People want to say it's hereditary. I heard this. The only thing that's hereditary is your eating habits. It ain't really hereditary, it's learned. You know what I'm saying? It's passed down. Even though hereditary means passed down, your eating habits are passed down.
I'm not born with high blood pressure.
Exactly.
I'm born with diabetes.
Exactly.
But I am born into an environment that practices XYZ, that has these bad habits that can be changed.
Facts.
We just got to want to change it.
You got to want to change it. And then if you don't want to change it, who am I to tell you to change anything? Hey, I'm going to tell you, hey, live your life as you see fit. Hey, if you cool with it, hey, who am I to tell you messed up? But I'm going to say,
facts.
If you feel unfulfilled in your life based upon your thought processes, the way your body feels, there's something you can do about it.
And I think that's more so the energy that we on with this conversation is being able to do something about it or figure out why to do something about it. Especially when you have influence in the circles that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Definitely there's no pressure in regards to trying to quit cold turkey. What we're presenting today is just a different perspective, if you will, and personal experiences on, different things in our life and how our bodies respond to eating healthy.
Facts.
Our body's response to eating the way that we're supposed to eat. Like you said earlier, choosing to eat to live and not live to eat. And it's a process like a mug because I've been a fast food eater for years my damn self. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm a truck driver. Been a truck driver 8.5 years. So it's easy to go to a truck stop and again, me personally, I chose to make the decision to, when it comes to fruit, only want organic. Excuse me. That's my choice. You know
Me
what I mean?
too.
If you want to eat, just regular fruit and start there and then eventually that's whatever works for you. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. I'm just speaking from my
Right.
perspective. But there's not a lot of foods out there. There's not a big organic section at most grocery stores.
The
It's a
demand
very
isn't
small
there.
one, if any. You know what I'm saying? Like straight the hell up. It's a very small one, if any. Uh, and then when you go to the truck stops, they do their best to offer, on the way out or the way in, there's like a small little tube with full of ice with fruits in it. Again, I don't pick it up because none of it says organic. So my experience, man, and again, here's the thing that I also started to participate in is in what are they called? Farmers markets. Farmers markets are great because you can actually meet the farmers who's growing the food. You can meet the families who's growing the food.
And the prices are better.
And not even just that. You can get numbers of these people. You can get their telephone number and be like, where
Yeah.
you at? Where can I pick up this food? So it's not really, in the majority of the time, these places be in your backyards. So it's not hard to get access to this food that's much more cheaper than the actual stores itself, right? And it's organic. You see what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Adding sea moss. Like me and my girl do sea moss a spoonful of sea moss. We try to do that every day. And
Same here.
so it's little changes like that, right? It's little changes like that which allow our body to take a break. Now again, that's just the food. So if you wanted to touch more on that, I want to let you go. But these next few minutes, I want you to touch on, if you don't mind, I want you to touch on fasting. You said you do intermittent fasting. I haven't got to that point yet. I observed it during Ramadan, right? The intermittent fasting, but I never actually fasted. You actually told me when we had a conversation previous, you fasted for a few days. How many days total you ever fast for?
Oh, every month I fast for 3 days. I don't eat any food for 3 days.
What do you drink?
Water, coffee, and tea. That's it.
Okay.
Zero
The whole day.
calories. 0 calorie stuff for the whole day.
Okay.
And then every 3 to 4 months, I'm right now. I'm looking at every 4 months. I do a 5-day fast where I don't eat nothing, only consuming water, coffee, and tea. And the impact on your health is incredible.
Mm.
Like I told you, I did a 3-day fast, and then I went and took some labs, at the doctor, and my labs came back phenomenal. I was like, man, this stuff it's not just a placebo effect. You know what I'm saying? You know how you get a placebo and you think you're doing better, you think you feel better, but I actually wanted to see it in writing right here.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I actually saw the difference in my blood work.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid, the concept of presenting anything that is parallel with a placebo effect.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? Hence the reason why we're just sharing our own experiences with eating healthy versus, trying to tell you what to do, trying to tell you what you need to do, because ultimately the choice is yours. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? My energy behind this because, eventually I want my kids to hear this, and my kids be like, because this is stuff I preach to my kids, and it's more reinforcement for my kids to understand. Okay, the more we make our health a priority and eating these berries for these antioxidants, and just focusing on this fruit intake, it can be a game changer.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It can be a game changer. The idea of fasting, I like it because it provides the body the opportunity, because the body heals itself.
The regeneration process.
Bingo. We didn't touch on
You
that
know what I'm saying? And that's it right there. See, when you fast, you're giving your digestive system a break. So now you're just operating off of what you got. You get start the regeneration process.
We start the regeneration process, and I think that's the most important component. That's the most important component to what fasting can do for you. Is the whole healing process from the inside out.
Right.
And if your body is re-healing, because it's not just oh yeah, it's just re-healing. No, it's really re-healing organs. You understand what I'm saying?
And I like the way you said from the inside out. Because when you go get a prescription, you're trying to heal from the outside in.
Correct. Correct. Let me go ahead and put this in here real quick.
Exactly.
But all that stuff is synthetic forms of what one medical company found that actually works.
That's the killer.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Where I'm like, okay, I see what y'all doing. I get it. I see what you're doing. That's a synthetic version of this fruit or herbs that you came across in the wild or in this other culture or this other civilization where you guys heard about something and spent the money on going to pursue it and see, well, what is it that's calling these people to heal?
Because now we put this in a pill form, we can sell it.
You can sell it now. You don't have to grow it no more. Don't worry about growing it.
Don't worry about growing it. Hey, we're going to give you the convenience of getting it in a pill, but you pay for convenience.
But you pay for the convenience. You pay for the convenience. So that's why I say when you do these fasts, and I'm gonna participate in that myself. I'm gonna start adding just I'm gonna start with one day. One day.
I'll start with 24 hours.
Listen, I'm gonna do 24 hours no food, and see how my body feels, and then try to consistently do that once a month.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said earlier, when you're not eating, you give your body the opportunity to do what it's supposed to do. Technically, and don't take my word on it, literally go look this up. If you want to Google Chat GPT it, if you want to Google it, go ahead, do what you got to do. But technically, the healthiest form of consuming anything is in a liquid form. Not
what the way that is absorbed easier in your digestive system.
It's bingo, right? It's in liquid form. But I mean, I get it when people say I don't have the time to blend it up. I don't have the time to juice it. Here's the beauty about that, though. You can do it the night before.
Yes, you can. And I like the way
blend it up.
And I like the way you brought it up. Because think about this. When a person's in the hospital and they can't feed themselves and they get on the feeding tube, what form is that nourishment going in their body? Liquid form.
It's all liquid form. It's all liquid form. Because they know.
It's less work on the body to digest it.
It's less work on the body. So when it is a challenge, because you got kids, you got work, and all this type of other stuff, when you make dinner, you literally can put together all the foods, the fruits, and whatever you want to throw into your actual smoothie. You can blend it up and throw that blended smoothie into the fridge. Take it out the fridge the very next day. Throw it back on the blender. You know what I mean, to put everything back into the blended form again, and then boom, knock it down.
Facts.
It doesn't have to be hard.
It's never hard. I mean, think about it. I know on my blender, from when I put it in raw, 60 seconds later, I got a smoothie. If I ain't got 60 seconds, then I don't know what the problem is.
And a lot of times it's less than that.
Yeah.
A lot of times it'd be like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
And you're right. It's 30 seconds, not 60. It's 30. It's 30 seconds. You're absolutely right.
Right.
I was inaccurate.
If we ain't got that type of time, I mean, that's a challenge. Because here's the thing, right? And this is another thing that this is another one of my motivations of why we're having this conversation is, what do we teach to the next generation if we don't make the change?
Convenience is better.
So
that's what we teach them, and that's why, and that's the reason why the suffering in different communities continues.
That's facts. That's facts. Because it's up to us. At the very end of the day, it's up to us. So if we can constantly put ourselves in positions, right, to be the example, I mean, it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a parent, you win because you eat healthier, and then your offsprings win by watching you eat healthier. Now they want to do what you do. So it's definitely beneficial to monitor the things that we're putting in our body. And again, like I said, it's very it's not hard at all. If you got farmers markets in your community, bro, like you can literally go there and get numbers from these people. So that way, when you want them seeded watermelons that you can't find nowhere else, I guarantee you that farmer got them.
That's a fact.
That farm, those seeded grapes that you can't find nowhere else, I guarantee you a farmer got them.
And another thing I want to add to this is, if you don't have access to a farmer's market, if you don't have access to an organic section, don't let that deter you.
No, for sure. For sure.
Just get to it however you can get to it. You know, and again, it's all based upon whatever outcome you want for your life.
For sure.
You know, if you're happy where you're at, hey, I ain't telling you to change nothing. Hey, do it how you do it. You know, but I know I had a multitude of friends that have hit me up over the past 2 years. Like, man, I feel horrible. I need to do something to feel better. And I just tell them the things I did, and every one of them are like, B, that shit worked.
It's just the reality of it. And like you said before, we're speaking to those ones who want to do something different.
Right.
Everybody else, and you know, I mean, we definitely not in the business of trying to promote. You have to do something as a man, as a woman. You do what the hell you want to do, man, and live with the consequences.
Absolutely.
But for those people that have those challenges or want to make those changes and don't really know how to, there's tons of resources out there. There's conversations that can be had, man. I mean, the information is out there, man, and I'm telling you right now, the information is already within you. Believe it or not, hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. Information is already within you. So when you go looking for those computers and all that type of stuff to get this information, all they're doing is telling you what you already know inside.
Confirmation.
It's just confirmation.
Yeah, because you have that little voice saying, "Come on, man, you know you need to eat better." But then when you get hungry, you know what? I need convenience, and you pay for convenience. And I ain't talking about just cost of money.
That's facts. You pay for it twice.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it real. You pay for it twice. Because I don't know no fast food places out there that's, if they're going to give you quote unquote fresh fast food, it's going to take you a good 10, 15, 20 minutes to get your order, especially if you come from a sizable family.
Yes.
It's going to take you 5, maybe 10 minutes to get those fruits out of your refrigerator, throw them in the blender, and blend that sucker. You pay for it one time, and your health benefits from it later. Or
Yep.
you go the fast food route, you pay for it the first time, and then pay for it the second time when your health starts to deteriorate. Because there's no way on God's green earth, right, that you can tell me that you can keep eating processed foods and get healthier as you do it.
So there's one thing I gotta put this out there. There was a guy who did a 100-day diet on McDonald's alone. Now he didn't say
Correct.
what all he was eating, and he lost
Correct.
weight. And he said his markers were good. His blood markers and his blood work was good. But I'm gonna be honest. I had to listen to him with a little bit of side eye, like, come on, man. Who paid you to do this?
You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to be like you don't have to be a scientist to know feeding your body things that are alive. There's benefits to that. Just like feeding your body things that are dead have consequences to that.
That's a
You
fact.
know what I'm saying? So that's just all I wanted to touch on today, man. Did you want to add anything before we get up out of here?
Hey, man, I thought we had a good discussion. I'm solid with the information we provided. Just hope we give folks a perspective shift or just a perspective to consider when they think about why is it so hard for me to be healthy.
Correct.
Well,
Perspective
all
is
right, my
everything.
brother. It was a wonderful build as usual. Until the
Always,
next
brother.
time.
Always, brother. I'll
All
talk to you
right.
later, man. Enjoy your
For
day.
sure.